God has a plan no matter where you land. Happy Tuesday, guys. I am still reeling in a good way from the trip to Harding University with my daughter. We went up Sunday and were there for Black and Gold Day on Monday, and then came back Monday night, so I'm a little sleepy. But it was such a good trip. And I was just thinking this morning how amazing God is. When I look back at my daughter's life, when I look back at everything she has walked through and everything that her father and I have walked through, and how really statistically we have beat the odds as far as divorced couples go. We chose a long time ago to forgive each other for our shortcomings in our marriage and let the past be the past. Let that be water under the bridge, so to speak. And we decided to focus on our daughter, and every decision that we had to make as her parents, we wanted to make sure it was what was best for her and that we weren't self-serving our own agenda. And man, it has really paid off, you guys. I just want to encourage you today, if you happen to be in a blended family, or if you happen to be divorced, maybe you're recently divorced and you are feeling a lot of condemnation coming on you and negativity about the future of your children and maybe your own future, I just want to remind you that God has a plan no matter where you land. He doesn't need your path to be perfectly straight. In fact, He already knew it wouldn't be, right? He isn't surprised by any of our choices or any of our shortcomings. God wasn't surprised by my affair. I was surprised. Many people were surprised, right? My first husband was very surprised and angry, as he should be. But God was not surprised. It took me a while to wrap my mind around that He already knew all of the choices I would make, good and bad, and He sent His Son to die for me anyway, okay? And I love the verse, I believe it's Romans 5:8, that tells us Christ demonstrated His love for us in this: while we were still sinners. That's when Jesus Christ died for us. So when you were still blank, fill in your sin of choice, that's when Jesus died for you. When I was still in my affair and getting away with it, so to speak, that's when Jesus chose to die for me, not when I was cleaned up and perfect, okay? And so I want you to remember that. And when it comes to your children, if you can choose to forgive the other party, maybe it's an ex-spouse, and let that bitterness and anger and disappointment go and give it to God, release it to God, He can still fulfill the promises and the dreams that you have for your children. I have dreamed for a long time that Avery would get to go to Harding, and it was such a special place for me and her father. It's just a wonderful community, a faith-filled community. And for the longest time, I wanted my daughter to go there, and I prayed for it, and I manifested it with my words. And I said, thank you, Lord, that she will desire to go to Harding. And I never told her I was praying those things. I think that she knew I had hope that she wanted to go there. But God heard my prayers, you guys. He answered my prayers. And I want you to know, one day Avery came to me and she said, Mama, it's the weirdest thing. I just know that I'm supposed to go to Harding. She had this internal knowing in her spirit, and that's God. And years ago, you guys, after my sinful season, I had so many people tell me that, Avery's life was ruined because of my actions. And I know they didn't mean ill will by that. I'm sure they were hoping that I would make the right decisions, right? And pull my family back together. And But putting words of negativity and condemnation on families that are struggling does not help. Helping them is speaking life over them. Are you encouraging them? Are you reminding them that God has a plan for them, no matter what they've walked through or the circumstances or what has happened to them? God isn't surprised. And God knew all along that Avery would still go to Harding, even though her dad and I, weren't able to reconcile our marriage. And that was a lie that I believed for a long time, that because I made those poor choices and had a large part in the dissolving of my first marriage, I thought, oh my goodness, maybe I have ruined my daughter's life, and it took me a while to learn that I can choose to manifest and believe in God's promises by speaking them and believing them in my heart. And now here I am getting to walk those promises out with Avery, and she loved it. She loved the campus, and she loved the program that she's wanting to get involved in at the school. And it was just awesome to see her there, and her father and I were able to cordially go on that visit together and make that visit about Avery. And it was wonderful. And we sat in chapel together and worshiped God together. And, family can look all kinds of different ways. Family can look all kinds of different ways. And I just want you to know that if your family looks different now than you ever imagined that it would, please do not buy into the lie of the enemy that you have ruined your life or ruined your children's lives. God has a plan for you. And if you have any questions for me, I'm always an open book. If you ever need to speak to anyone who's walked through quite a bit, I walked through a lot of persecution and a lot of labeling, and it's okay now. I really feel like that season of suffering gave me tough skin and a kind heart, and I'm not judgmental toward people, and I'm really good at holding my tongue and having grace with others. And bottom line is, we can get along, you guys, if we choose to. We can get along with people that believe differently. We can get along with people that are living their lives differently than what we think that they should. We can get along with people that have different political views. We can get along. It's a choice. And so I encourage you to manifest good things with your words and stand on the promises of God. God has a plan no matter where you land. You guys have a happy Tuesday, and I'll see you next week. Bye.